There's been this concept that I've been wanting to talk to you guys about for the longest time, and I just never sat down to put my thoughts to paper, so that way I made sure I covered all the concept that I needed to cover, right? And this concept is called it's called a G-Flux, and G-Flux is basically energy flux, and it's the total amount of energy in plus out that your system, your body is using, right? So let's say we took 3 people on average, and let's say that they're all at maintenance calories in versus calories out, 2,000, 2,500, and 3,000 calories in a day. G-Flux would show that the person that's at 3,000 calories a day, even at maintenance, is going to have better body composition, better function, better recovery, better metabolic rate than somebody who's at 2,000. Why is that? Is that a lot of what your body does in terms of choosing how much energy to use, the metabolism, has to do with the amount of body you have, the amount of weight you have, because you need to maintain that body at that weight. So it takes all the energy that adds up to that total weight. There's that. Secondly, when you're moving around that person, that you're needing that energy. So you're going to need the muscles as well, right? You're going to need some of the tools that's going to take to move you around. But all that being said, this 3,000 calorie, even at maintenance, metabolism, it's being signaled to burn that high because the amount of food that comes in is matching the 3,000. If you were burning 3,000 calories and you're only taking in 1,000, your body would actually slow down its metabolism, because it's like you're burning through all these reserves so quickly that it's almost like in a panic state, in a sense that it has to do power saving mode so that your body will have the energy to survive, right? So the G-Flux really is an argument for increasing the amount of activity you do rather than bringing down your calories. And I briefly talked about this actually on the podcast with Jordan, that if you haven't heard already, it should be live. But basically, the argument when someone's first trying to lose weight is to bring down the calories right away. And I still believe there's reasons why you want to do that. But more and more of the people out there are suggesting, because of G-Flux, to just try to increase the amount of exercise first, because that's going to burn more energy and your metabolism is going to go quicker because you're still eating that amount. You actually haven't dropped the amount of calories that you're taking in. So, and we're going to get to the pros and cons of that. But the whole purpose is, instead of bringing your calories down to try to burn your body fat, they're just saying keep the calories where they are and bring your exercise up. This is the general crux of the argument for G-Flux, right? And more exercise means that you're going to have better fat loss. You're going to have better body composition. Some of the outcomes means that your metabolism rate actually increases. The adaptation to exercise is improved. You get better recovery. You don't get burned out as quickly. So there's a lot of pros for this, right? And in this, G-Flux is basically the amount of total energy in versus out combined, right? So you will probably have better outcomes in terms of body composition, all these things, if you're able to maintain more exercise and don't cut your calories as much. Now there's some cons to this. Like if you miss an exercise and you're eating still to the level you're actually you might gain weight again, because you're not in a calorie deficit, because you have missed exercise for that day. So it's a lot easier to miss exercise in this day and age. And I think this is why I always revert to nutrition, because it's almost easier to change your nutrition, adjust your nutrition. And it's it's not time dependent for most people. You can't really skip not reducing your calories, right? Whereas, maybe your day got busy and you couldn't exercise that day. So again, the con might be that if you're trying to maintain such a high calorie intake and you're burning more, of course, you're still in a calorie deficit. But let's say you miss the exercise that day, then you gain a little bit that day, right? It might seem like it takes longer because you're not going to see it as quick of a change as you might if you just dropped your calories really quickly. And in some ways, it's harder to implement for this reason. Like, you have to focus on getting so much exercise. You have to really focus on putting more energy out. So the whole concept of G-Flux is that when you're looking at the amount of energy that you're expending versus how much you're taking in, the higher total amount of energy, the more that your body's going to have the ability to partition the calories that you take in and use them properly. The more recovery you're going to get, the more muscle you're going to be able to build quicker. It just, when you have more coming in, you can use that energy more, right? That's essentially what it is. How this really is going to affect the way I coach people, not too much. I think that you want to maximize the amount of non-exercise activity, your steps, like I've always talked about. You're still going to want to get about 300 minutes or more of activity. That seems to be that threshold for the proper G-Flux. And that's about 5 hours a week of moderate to vigorous exercise, which is basically what I'm talking about for most people anyway. So you want to get about 4 to 5 strength training sessions a week. You want to get 1 to 3 cardio sessions a week. You want to maximize the amount of non-exercise activity, so your steps, right? So what really am I going to change in terms of applying this concept for you guys? Technically, I've been applying it this whole time, right? Now, the more we can maximize your exercise, the better it's going to be for your results and everything else. Of course, there's a limit to this. You don't want to overtrain. G-Flux is not a free ticket to overtrain. It's to get everything up so you have more room to play with the amount of calories coming in and use them for recovery quicker, use them to build muscle quicker, etc., etc. So that's the concept of G-Flux. If you want to learn more about it, just feel free to send us a message and we'll get into it a little bit more, nerd out on it some more.